Here I have three rapid trigger keyboards. One from Razer, the Huntsman 10 keyless V3 Pro, one from SteelSeries, the Apex 10 keyless Pro 2023 edition, and one from Wooting, the 60HE. And today we're going to stack them side by side and compare them and decide which one is right for you. We're going to compare them in three categories: build quality and sound, software and ease of use, and finally rapid trigger performance and accuracy. Just a quick side note, the Razer and SteelSeries I have here are in 10 keyless form factor, but that does not affect the performance at all. The Wooting I have here is the 60HE, but Wooting has recently also announced that they are working on 10 keyless version of their keyboard. The first category we have is build quality. The Razer Huntsman V3 Pro uses a brushed aluminum top plate, which should give you great durability and increased resistance to wear and tear. Out of the box, you also get textured double-shot PBT keycaps with a see-through font, which allows a good amount of RGB shine through. I mentioned it in my full review of the keyboard, which you can find through a link down below in the video description, but the font and light aren't very even and some keys look slightly dimmer than others, but it's a minor cosmetic issue that you will quickly get used to. Apart from that, we got a plastic bottom plate with adjustable feet and I believe no foam inside to dampen the sound. The switches used in the Huntsman line from Razer are their own optical Gen 2 switches, designed with rapid trigger and analog functions in mind, not like the previous analog Huntsman, which had a bit of issues with that. The keyboard uses USB-C connectivity, as all of them do, and has two additional buttons that serve as macro and media control buttons. However, they are unavailable on the smaller version of the keyboard, so if you decide to go for the compact version, you won't get them. Apart from the keyboard, the box also contains a magnetic leatherette wrist rest. The Apex Pro is very similar when it comes to build quality to the Razer Huntsman Pro. It also has double-shot PBT keycaps, an aluminum top plate, plastic bottom plate with adjustable feet, and the same as Razer, it doesn't have any dampening foam inside to help with the sound. The legends on the Apex Pro don't seem to have any issues with the RGB whatsoever. SteelSeries doesn't use optical switches for their keyboards, instead using their OmniPoint 2.0 magnetic switches, which use Hall effect for analog input, same as Wooting. In the box you will also find a leatherette wrist rest, same as with Razer. SteelSeries opted for a digital display for their flagship keyboard, which is pretty cool and allows you to more easily change some of the settings on the keyboard. It also makes managing your profiles much more manageable, as you can clearly see which of the onboard settings you have selected. Finally, there's Wooting. I really like the build quality and sound feel of the keyboard. It's designed in a very similar way to the previous keyboards, but does a much better job at making the keyboard sound more enthusiast grade. With the basic version we get double-shot PBT keycaps, steel switch plate, first layer of foam, PCB, another layer of foam, and an ABS tray mount bottom plate with rubber feet. There's no adjustable feet on the bottom. Overall, the case feels very rigid and well made, and same as with Razer and SteelSeries, I've got no complaints. In the box you won't get a wrist rest, it's a separate buy, but you do get a separate magnetic switches which can help you quickly fix the keyboard if any of the factory installed ones go down, without having to send the keyboard back for repairs. So when it comes to build quality, all three keyboards are built really well, they're really sturdy, and I have no complaints here. However, things change dramatically when we compare the sound of all of them. So take a listen to this. So in my opinion, out of the three, Wooting does really sound the best, thanks to the included foams, thanks to the way it's built. It sounds really good. The other two, don't get me wrong, don't sound really that bad, but when you have a comparison, you have them side by side, the Wooting is a clear winner here. The only other rapid trigger keyboard I've tested that could potentially match Wooting in terms of sound is the Drangdir A75. Was also a very good keyboard, maybe not as polished and not as good as the SteelSeries, the Razer and the Wooting, but the sound profile was much better than the other two big brands. If you, however, don't care about sound, you will be happy with the build quality on all three of them. However, Wooting does give you 2 more years of warranty when compared to the Razer and the SteelSeries. So Wooting gives you 4 years, while SteelSeries and Razer only give you 2 years. But that's excluding LED lights. The warranty on LED lights on Wooting is the standard 2-year warranty. Next, let's talk about software and ease of use with built-in features. Wooting, since it's a 60% compact layout, is at a slight disadvantage here. It has no screen or knob, and it also doesn't have built-in controls to help you adjust the analog and rapid trigger sensitivity on the go. You need to use a web app or desktop app, but they're both pretty good and allow you to store all the settings on the keyboard, as well as set different profiles for gaming, typing, productivity, and so on. There are also advanced functions like mod tabs, which allow you to basically set 2 functions to a single key and activate them through a press or tap of the keyboard. There's a lot of flexibility here, so we won't be able to discuss all of it, but rest assured that you can really tune the way the keyboard works to your preference. When it comes to analog settings, you can set anything from 0.1mm to 4mm actuation, the full range of the switch. You can also set different actuation levels for different keys, so movement keys can have higher sensitivity, while for example caps lock or other function keys can have lower sensitivity to prevent accidental inputs. I wish you could do the same with rapid trigger, but unfortunately you can either disable or enable rapid trigger for specific keys, and when enabled, the keys will use global rapid trigger settings. There is, however, an asymmetric rapid trigger option to set different down and up stroke sensitivity. The Huntsman Pro 10 keyless allows you to adjust the sensitivity of analog switches and rapid trigger either by using the built-in shortcuts or Razer's app. However, if you want to set rapid trigger to specific keys, for example movement keys and some action keys like FQ, etc., then you need to create a dedicated profile, which will do that. Of course, that's a minor issue, as the keyboard allows you to store up to 5 custom profiles. You even get a dedicated printed manual that does a great job explaining the built-in shortcuts. Using FN and tab or caps, you enter dedicated mode, which allows you to set either actuation or rapid trigger sensitivity from 0.1 to 3.6 for the first one, or from 0.1 to 1mm for the second one. Razer software called Synapse allows for much better fine-tuning of the settings. There you can set individual settings for actuation and rapid trigger for each key, as well as set asymmetric sensitivity for up and down stroke. This is great and something the Wooting doesn't allow you to do. This way you can really fine-tune the keyboard to your preference. There are some disadvantages, however. As soon as you close the app, your RGB settings revert back to the keyboard's default cycle effect. You cannot save RGB settings on your keyboard, which seems a bit weird, but maybe there are some technical limitations because of the plethora of analog and rapid trigger options. Overall, the built-in menu is very easy to use, and I also have no complaints when it comes to Synapse. It's pretty intuitive, gives you a lot of control without making the app cluttered or confusing. Of course, the fact that you need it to run to have RGB settings active is mildly irritating. Finally, SteelSeries. The keyboard has received some updates since my initial review. We'll cover them as well. Apex Pro 10 keyless 2023 edition has built-in OLED screen, which helps you navigate the built-in menu and makes managing the profiles, macros, and so on much easier, as everything is displayed on the screen. You can also change actuation levels, turn on or off rapid trigger for all keys, but you cannot change rapid trigger sensitivity even after the recent update. You can only do it in the software, which SteelSeries calls Engine. It's pretty bloated, but once you get into the configuration part, it's not too difficult to understand. Here, same as with the Huntsman Pro, you can set different actuation rapid trigger sensitivities for each individual key. The Apex Pro, however, doesn't allow you to set asymmetric upstroke and downstroke sensitivity. Hopefully, SteelSeries will add it in the future updates. Another weird thing is that if you want to control the RGB, you need to use the dedicated software at all times. As soon as you close the app, the keyboard goes back to default RGB settings, ignoring the custom profiles you have on the keyboard, same as on the Huntsman. Finally, let's talk about the performance. All of them support 0.1 actuation, but only Huntsman and Apex allow you to also set 0.1 rapid trigger sensitivity. So in theory, they should be slightly faster than the Wooting, which allows you to set 0.15 sensitivity on the rapid trigger. Wooting has an ace up its sleeve, however, something both competitors don't have. In the software, you can enable tachyon mode, which prioritizes keyboard scanning over RGB effects. The 60HE will update every analog key position in less than 1 millisecond every 1 millisecond. Does it mean that you will instantly notice any difference while using one or the other keyboard? Honestly, no. At least it's not something that I have noticed, and I've spent a fair amount of time with each of them. They're quick, snappy, and rapid trigger really does make a difference, especially when compared to classic mechanical keyboards. And for anyone who plays competitive shooters like Valorant, Apex Legends, CSGO, or even Warzone and wants to have the best of the best, rapid trigger keyboards are a must-have. I was really skeptical at the beginning, but once you try it, it's hard to go back to a standard non-analog mechanical keyboard. Before we talk about the price and summarize today's video with my recommendations on what to pick, I want to do one more test, and that is rapid trigger accuracy. For this, I've set all three keyboards to the lowest possible rapid trigger sensitivity, which is 0.1mm for Razer and SteelSeries and 0.15 for Wooting, and use a micrometer, a tool used for measuring thickness of materials between 0.001mm up to 25mm. These are the results. The Wooting is very accurate. The downstroke and upstroke reset around reaching the 0.15mm travel distance. I also didn't notice any weird behavior or inconsistencies. Razer is also very accurate, although it seems that the travel distance is a bit lower than 0.1mm, closer to 0.08mm, but that's within the margin of error. SteelSeries, however, seems to be overly sensitive when you set the rapid trigger at 0.1mm. I saw a lot of accidental inputs happening, and even when I just let the keyboard lay with the micrometer attached, the key just kept activating and deactivating randomly. I believe this is a software tuning issue and can be fixed with a firmware update. Either way, be mindful when setting rapid trigger sensitivity at maximum, or it might cause a lot of accidental inputs, and this is valid for all of the keyboards here, not just SteelSeries. I'd suggest 0.2, 0.3 as the safe spot, even more so that in everyday use you won't notice the difference. Now let's discuss the price, as the difference between the most expensive and the cheapest of the keyboards I have here can be as high as $80. The most expensive and newest addition to the rapid trigger family is the Razer Huntsman V3 Pro. The compact version costs $180, the 10 keyless version, which I have here, costs $220, and the full-size keyboard costs $250. That's pretty expensive. The Wooting 60HE costs $175 for the basic versions, but if you start adding additional stuff like an aluminum plate or a wrist rest, the price will increase drastically. The cheapest on the list is the Apex Pro 10 keyless 2023 edition, as it quite often goes on sale, and I've seen it go as low as $145. So if you calculate the difference between the Razer Huntsman 10 keyless and Apex Pro 10 keyless, it's $220 versus $145, which is around $80 difference, and that is quite a lot, especially that you don't get that much value from buying the Razer. And this takes me to the summary. Each of the keyboards has something unique to offer. The Wooting offers the best sound and key feel, and it also allows you for a lot of customizability with aftermarket parts. The Razer seems to be the most complete of the products, offering a lot of features like per key, rapid trigger, where you can change the sensitivity, upstroke and downstroke. You have all of the features, some of which the competitors are lacking. And the SteelSeries sits somewhere in between. It has a lot of great features, plus it's the cheapest of the three when bought on sale. So here's what I think about all three keyboards. If you have deep pockets and want the best customizability, the best features out of the box, and you don't really care about the fact that you have to run the software in order to have the RGB settings, then the Razer Huntsman Pro is a very solid pick. If, however, you are more of an enthusiast and you want to have your keyboard perform well but also sound very well, and you want to mod it, you want to play with it, then the Wooting is the choice for you. And if you're looking for something that will not break the bank and still give you great rapid trigger performance and a lot of features that the other competitors have, SteelSeries is your best choice. And for me personally, I'm torn between the Razer Huntsman V3 Pro 10 keyless and the Wooting. I like the customizability of the Razer, the fact that you can set per key rapid trigger, per key actuation levels. This is really great and allows you to really customize the keyboard, but the way the Wooting sounds is just really good. And I like my keyboard to sound really well, not be as loud and as obnoxious as the Razer can be. And this keyboard does it really well. So I think for the time being, at least until Wooting releases their 10 keyless version of their keyboard, I will stick to the Wooting 60HE. I hope this video helped you understand the differences and advantages and disadvantages of all three of the keyboards, and will help you make a more educated decision when you want to choose the best rapid trigger keyboard for you. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you want to share your experiences, your thoughts, also feel free to comment down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Razer, and I'll see you in the next video.